Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Nails in Orbit. Today we're going to be doing a classic. We're going to do the Powerpuff Girls. Ooh. And to make it extra special, this one is going to be part 1. We're going to do the young Powerpuff Girls. And then in part 2, we're going to do the grown-up Powerpuff Girls. I've been seeing those all over. And of course, I have to show you guys how I do them. And also at the very end, I'm going to throw in how to do the little Powerpuff Girl heart, or my version of it, I guess. We're not going to do acrylic today. We're just going to jump right into the characters since we have 3 of them. And let's get started. Hello everyone. So we're going to get started. So I actually already attempted bubbles and I had to take it off and restart. For some reason, the Powerpuff Girls, they're just another hard one for me, to be honest. I think SpongeBob's a little hard for me, and the Powerpuff Girls. And they seem like they would be the more simple characters, but for some reason, these ones are a little bit of a challenge for me, but I did get better as I went along. So yes, this is my second attempt, so it is okay if you need to take more than one attempt. Do not get mad at yourself. Just like shave it right off, file it right on off, and start over. So I just coated all the nails with matte top coat after I did the acrylic because it's just easier for me to do the artwork. It doesn't slip and slide as much, and it's easier for you guys to see. So that's where we're at. And now I'm just starting off with the oval shape of the head. You guys saw me fill that in, and now we're just going shape by shape and filling in all these colors. Just go slow with it. Keep it the best you can. I think I was just trying to get the full body of the character in there, so I was just constantly thinking about the proportion at each step and making sure I was going to have enough room and nothing was going to be squished or anything. And one thing I do want to note about the Powerpuff Girls, keep their outfits pretty short. I think that was a problem I had throughout. I made their little outfits probably a little bit too long, so just keep them maybe shorter than you think. Like, for some reason, I just kept making them too long. But anyway, we're just filling in these colors. You guys can watch me fill them in. I'm using a brush. I'm using the daughter tool. I'm using whatever I need. And yeah, you guys can just continue to watch. Oh, and the eyeballs. The eyeballs I did with the daughter tool. I love doing the eyes with the daughter tool. I think this is just the easiest way to do it. I just got a big glob of paint and circled around. And that's the easiest way I feel for the Powerpuff Girls because their eyes are so giant and so circle. So I recommend a daughter tool for this. So one of the main things I actually learned from my first attempt of doing bubbles was that it was much easier to do the eyes before the hair, because the hair you can just put right on over the eyes instead of having to work around the eyes. Like say on Blossom with her bangs, like that would be way more challenging to work the eyes around the bangs instead of just putting the bangs right on top of the eyes. So that's a benefit to me. I think eyes before hair is the perfect order. When placing them, I did not put much priority on their hands. I just wanted to get their hair to the bottom of their toe in the frame, and then making them as close as possible. Because the first time I did bubbles, her hair was cut off, like her ponytails were cut off, and I just did not like that. I didn't think it looked good. I thought they were small enough characters that I could be able to fit them on this nail pretty zoomed in without cutting off the majority of their body. But I made it a priority every other part except their hands. So that's why I'm okay with the hands being cut off instead of having to make her smaller and keep the hands in there. And now I'm outlining. Outlining thicker was actually more challenging for me. I don't know why, but because I had to go over everything quite a few more times to make sure it was the thickness I wanted. And it was like when I was doing the line work, I was like, oh, this like does not look look good right now. So it was bothering me. But once I got used to the lines being thick in my mind and knowing that it was going to turn out good was enough for me. But yeah, I don't do a lot of characters with super thick outlines like the Powerpuff Girls. So I think I definitely need to practice that a little bit more. But I definitely got better by the time I got to Buttercup. My lines were, I think I was a lot faster and I was able to understand how to get that thick line instead of starting with thin and like packing it on. You know what I mean? And here was the only thin line in the whole thing, really. I just got the littlest amount of product on my brush and made the as thin a line as I could around those eyeballs and around the mouth too. I just filled it in kind of with like a shading gel black, and then I went over and outlined it with the black again to make it just look a little bit more clean on the mouth. And then here I put the circle. I put it kind of like in the middle of the eye, and there wasn't enough. It wasn't like half circle enough. So I was just filling in the sides of the circle, so it would be more of a half circle and less of like a circle like in the middle of the eye, if that makes any sense. I hope that made sense. And that's Bubbles, looking cute, much better than my first attempts. I'm so happy I redid it. And now we're just putting on that top coat. And I say it every time, but 2 top coats for characters smooths it out and keeps it strong. So now we're starting with Blossom, and we're doing the same way that we did before. I'm just basically looking over at Bubbles for reference just to make sure I'm getting like the relatively the same size for her head, just to make sure she's not overly larger than Bubbles or anything like that. So I'm just looking over, making sure I'm keeping their general like body points in the same spot or in the same like proportion. And then also keeping in mind, I do need enough room for her big bow. So just keep that in mind. And it does look like, if you really look, it looks like Blossom's legs are a little bit shorter because of her bow. Because I was trying to like size them, and sometimes I would try to size their heads to match, but then Blossom would look way too big. So I think they adjusted the size of Blossom a little bit because of her bow being so high to make sure the girls weren't too far off in like full proportion from like bow to toe. So that worked out actually perfectly for getting them on these nails. Also, another thing to note about painting the Powerpuff Girls, you really don't have to be that perfect when you're placing this color, because the line work is so thick, you are going to get some of those curves in there really only through the line work. Like, see, there's like the tiny little curve on the inside of her leg. When you do the line work, you'll be able to see that more so than how I painted it. But just little things to keep in mind. The lines are going to be so thick, so there's lots of stuff you can clean up when you're doing the line work. And another thing I wanted to talk about is like how you can place your characters more accurately. So for example, there's like little details you want to pay attention to, like the bottom of her hair lines up with the top of her shoe, you know, things like that. Or her hand, for example, the top of her hand that's up in the air is in the middle of the bow, you know, stuff like that. Like that's kind of how you can kind of figure out where things should be placed. Like really look at all the surroundings so you know that you're placing something accurately. And even if some of the proportions are off, most of your proportions will be correct, and people won't really be able to tell because again, people aren't comparing a picture next to your nail. So as long as you get most of those proportions right and you're looking at things all around and not just placing them willy-nilly, you're placing them with thought because of things around it, you know what I mean? Then you'll get the most accurate that you can placement. I feel like here is the best example of how I said I made their bodies like a little bit too long. You can see that like everything should just be shifted up a bit. You know, like the placement of the short like foot, like her knee is bent, should be just a little bit closer to her head. So just keep those kind of things in mind. Like next time I draw them, for example, I will make sure that they're shorter. So each time you draw a character, you'll get better and better each time. And that's what I learned from this time around of drawing the Powerpuff Girls. I drew them one other time on my hand. I'll actually pop that video in. I drew them on my hand. And that's when my little brother informed me that there was a fourth one. I didn't know that. I did not know that at all. I looked her up though, and she's absolutely adorable. But I think I want to dedicate in her own like personal full set for her, instead of adding her to here, because I feel like the pinky in my practice hand is just like, it's like a normal hand, but you can't like bend it so it doesn't look like with the group, you know what I mean? And I wanted all of the girls to be like kind of the same size and it fit with the composition. So we just stuck with the three that I grew up with, and we will give the new girl, I actually don't know her name. Let me look it up. Blistina is her name. That's cute. But yeah, she will get her own full purple and teal and blue set, and it will be gorgeous. Maybe I'll do it on my own hand. Yeah, I think that'd be cute. I'll do it on my own hand eventually. But right now we're just sticking with the classics. And now we're moving on to Buttercup. My mom's favorite was actually Buttercup. My favorite was Blossom, and my sister's favorite was Bubbles. So we all had our own Powerpuff Girl. This was one of my mom's favorite like kid shows that we watched when we were younger. Obviously, we loved it because she loved it. You know what I mean? It was like our favorite show as a little group. So yeah, she was definitely Buttercup through and through. I was Blossom, and then my sister's was definitely Bubbles. I don't know if like Blossom, you know, like when you have siblings, you guys can't like the same thing. Like for example, we liked the Jonas Brothers and I loved Joe, but you know, I feel like I kind of secretly liked Nick the best, but Nick was her, so I had to pick Joe, even though I love Joe. I love him, but I feel like Nick was secretly my favorite. But that might have been the case with Bubbles. But anyway, you guys let me know who was your favorite Powerpuff Girl. Either Blossom, Buttercup, Bubbles, or the new Blissina. Tell me your guys' favorite. Buttercup looks so funny right now without her hair. She looks like a little bug. A little bug. Oh, also, my mom used to always say, "Suck it up, Buttercup." And it would always make me think of Buttercup, even though I know that saying was not from, you know, Powerpuff Girls or whatever, but she always said, "Suck it up, Buttercup." And I think that's also another reason why Buttercup was her favorite. Fun fact. With the line work on here, I definitely got better at initially getting enough paint on my brush so that I was making a thicker line to begin with instead of piling on thin lines on top of each other. So the lines just did come out a little bit more clear. But yeah, I just packed on a little bit more on that brush and then didn't wipe so much off on the palette. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that was way more helpful. And I think I just liked Buttercup's pose. It was just really nice. I liked how her foot is like kind of tilted. I think it was great. I probably tilted her a little bit too much, but that's okay. And there is Buttercup, looking all good. And now we're throwing on our top coat, D&D top coat to be exact, 2 coats. And now I'm going to show you guys how I do the Powerpuff Girl heart. I'm going to show the background because I like the color acrylic that I chose. So we're just going to do a light or a white. I'm doing light pink first because I decided after there was like too much dark pink in the inside, so I actually put a white heart inside this. But anyway, it's going to go white heart, pink, and then open space, and then white heart, pink, open space. That's going to be the pattern today. And with Powerpuff Girl hearts, you want to make sure the top of your hearts are thicker than the other part of the heart, if that makes any sense. That just gives it that Powerpuff Girl aesthetic, that Y2K aesthetic, doing it that way. So that's what we're doing today. And you guys can just watch the rest of that process. And there it is, all done. I love seeing the acrylic come through. I just think it looks really nice, and it gives you those 3 tones that you were looking for, the white, the pink, and the dark pink. And now here is the reveal of these beautiful Powerpuff nails. I really, really like them. I hope you guys do. I hope that you come to the second part so you guys can see them all grown up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and comment any ideas that you want. Bye-bye.